Welcome to the Out of Your Comfort Zone podcast. On today's episode, we'll be talking to 3 alumni who did their first year abroad in Barcelona and a gap year abroad in Seville before heading to college. We hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the Out of Your Comfort Zone podcast. Today's episode is a little different. We're going to be talking to 3 alumni who are currently in college after finishing FYA, first year abroad, and gap programs with CIEE. So in the last year, or I think they'll explain a bit more, but their first semester, I believe, or throughout the last year, they were studying abroad in Spain, all 3 of these alumni, after graduating high school. And so we've invited them today to talk a bit about their experience and this alternative route they took on their way to college. So I'm going to have you guys all introduce yourself, just say your name and where you studied abroad, where you're from, and where you're at college now.
I can just start. Hi, I'm Maxine, 19 years old. I'm currently in college at the University of South Carolina, which is in the state capital, Columbia. And I did a gap year program with CIEE in Seville. Obviously, amazing experience. I was there for about 9 months, and I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so decided to come south for college.
Amazing.
Hi, I'm Sally Barnhill. I am currently in my first freshman semester at NYU, and I studied abroad last semester in the fall in Barcelona, Spain. I'm originally from Austin, Texas, and yeah.
Great.
Hi, I'm Haimanot. I also did first year abroad with Sally in Barcelona for my first semester of college, and I'm currently at a local community college, and I'm from Los Angeles, California.
Great. Thank you all for those introductions. So I guess to kind of get the conversation going, what I want to ask you is what inspired you to take this leap and to go on our first year abroad and gap programs? They're definitely programs that are not as common, right? Usually we're on our podcast, we're talking about the summer programs and how rare it is for students to study abroad in their high school career. But I would say even more rare would be the leap to take your first year abroad, for example, right? Usually we hear about students studying abroad in college in their junior year, right? Or even the gap year abroad. What made you guys decide to do this as you were graduating high school and thinking about your next steps towards college?
I can start again. So a big inspiration and help to me was my mom. My mom actually took a gap year between high school and college. So growing up, I had her kind of to like bounce off of. And she would always be like, oh, you're kind of young for your grade. You always have the chance to do a year abroad or do a gap year if you'd like. So kind of when I was reaching like my senior year, I was applying to colleges, but I kind of wasn't like had a clear idea of where I wanted to go, what I wanted to major in, those kinds of things. So she kind of brought that up like as still an option. And so I decided that that was something I wanted to do. And, it felt a little bit easier because knowing like my mom had done it successfully and like it obviously changed her life. So that's definitely the main reason, but also just so I could kind of like figure out what I wanted to do career-wise and college-wise.
Well, I kind of decided to study abroad or do the first year abroad program because I did a CIEE high school summer abroad program in between my junior and senior year. And it was just a really great experience. It was a shorter kind of period, but I was able to learn a lot and I got to just like learn about a new culture. and meet friends that like I still talk to this day and that we're still really close. And like it's just like a different type of bond where you're kind of just like living with somebody, like seeing them every day. Like it's different, and like those friends are like people that I'm still really close to this day. And like we're like spread out across the country, but like we'll like when we have breaks, like we'll just go visit each other. And like I even like visited Sally in New York just because like it's just like it's like a nice experience to just have friends around the country to just like travel and like hang out with, and you guys have these like experiences that you've shared.
Yeah. Nothing, I feel like nothing helps people bond more than the experience of traveling together. You bond so quickly, being in this like new uncomfortable situation together.
Yeah, and I think for us especially, it was because we only had like 5 people in our cohort, so we all got really close
Yeah.
over the course of 3 months. For me, I actually ended up, it was kind of a spontaneous decision for me because I was accepted into NYU to start in the spring. So I kind of, and it was like my dream school, but I was like, do I want to wait until the spring to start college? And then my dad was like, what if you like studied abroad? And I was like, oh my God, I should do that. And so then I found this program and did the application process. And then all of a sudden I was in Barcelona and it was amazing.
Oh my goodness. That is so exciting. Your first semester of college, right? And you're in a new city. How did you feel, the three of you transitioning into college after? Maxine, your experience was a little different because you were away for the whole year, but Hammy and Sally, how did you feel transitioning in the spring semester to the college campus?
I honestly feel like being in Barcelona helped me so much because like at the beginning of my senior year of high school, I like honestly almost didn't apply to NYU because the idea of going to New York City straight out of high school sounded so crazy to me, which like looking back, I'm like, I went to another country instead.
Yeah.
But I just think honestly, like the biggest thing is like public transportation. Like there's no public transportation in Austin really, aside from like the city bus. And so like learning how to navigate that in Barcelona, like in Spanish, the subway here now feels so easy to me because of that, which I think it would have been a really big challenge for me had I not done that first semester.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say also like I think the transition for me was easier that I went because we kind of just were like thrown into the deep end and we had to just like figure it out. And we learned so much independence, and like we had a really great host family that where they were like, if you need anything, you can reach out to us, but like you guys were adults. Like they truly treated us like adults, and I like felt like because of that I had like a great opportunity to grow. And yeah.
What about you, Maxine?
I mean, I also lived with a host family and they kind of similarly were like, I mean, I was 18, still got the chance to be very independent and kind of do my own things. But like transition wise, I mean, highlighting more on the independence, having like those 9 months to kind of do whatever I wanted outside of, the language classes that I had every week and different activities I was doing was obviously really formative and like gave me time to like make those friendships, connections, visit different places. And then like whenever I came back, I will say like the transition was a little harder for me because 9 months is a lot longer. But I did have those like 3, 4 months to kind of, you know, readjust to life in the US. And so whenever I came to college, I also felt really refreshed because it was kind of a year where I didn't have that much stress going on, not a lot of things at once. So it was nice to have that break and like I was felt a little more prepared than other people.
Like opportunity to explore and
Yeah,
understand.
and I was like more willing, like I really wanted to be involved because like I had already kind of like I like involved myself in a lot of different things while I was abroad. So like whenever I got on campus, I like knew these are all the things that I want to try and do. And like now when I look back, like from last semester when I first started, like I'm really happy with everything I've involved myself in.
Amazing. You're super involved.
Yeah, I'm my choice. You don't have to be as crazy as me.
No, that's awesome though. So, before, let's like go back to before you guys went abroad. Did you guys, was there anything that scared you? Was there anything that made you hesitate before going abroad? Was there anything that you were nervous about?
I think for me, a little bit. I mean, like, I obviously had like the nervousness of like being away from my family for that long. Like, I had never been away from home for that long of a time, let alone like overseas. But like, another thing, which like I feel like people don't really talk about, is the fact that like I felt like I was worried that I was going to be missing out on like a quote unquote like typical college experience, which I feel like a lot of my like high school classmates really saw as like something they really wanted, was to like, you know, like join like rush sororities and like orientation and all that stuff. Like I would be missing all of that sort of like starting college later. So that was like a little bit of a hesitation for me for sure, but I was mostly excited.
I think that's a common hesitation. I think that's something that I hear a lot, right? Is at least when you study abroad in your third year, you've had the 2 years of experience on your campus, whereas first year abroad, you're not going straight to your campus to start building that community, right? With rushing and things like that and going to orientation. But as we can see, it's the experience of FYA is beneficial in so many other ways, right?
I just wanted to add to that, like in my experience, like I had somewhat of a similar feeling because like all my friends from high school were starting college and I was not starting college, and I was like, you know, really afraid of like what that meant, like seeing like all my friends at college doing all these fun things, like should I have done that? But like now that I'm in college and like I tell people I did this, or the fact that I actually did it, it like I feel like it sets me apart so much, and like I just feel like I'm better off having done it, and I don't feel like I missed out on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think it definitely was also like kind of like challenging just seeing everybody back at home. Like we were like abroad, so like it didn't really make much sense to go home for like smaller breaks. But like seeing all my friends together was like a little bit of a challenge. And all like just in general, there was like kind of like that feeling of FOMO. But then I like took a step back and realized like I like it's not what I need to be worrying about. Like I'm doing something that's like that some people don't have a chance to do in their life. And like when I say things that are silly, like, oh, like I wish I could hang out with my friends right now. Like my friends are like, you're literally in Spain right now. Like we wish we could be there with you. It's just kind of like your perspective is different.
Yeah. 100%. How did you guys all choose the destination? How did you end up in Barcelona and Seville? So, is that where you had done your summer abroad, Amy?
I did my summer abroad in Lisbon. So yeah.
My favorite place in the world.
I chose Barcelona just because I honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I love the beach.
Yeah.
That was part of the reason. And for first year abroad, because it was the first year, there weren't as many options. And I knew I didn't want to go to London. I knew I wanted to like be immersed in like an actual like different culture and like learning a different language.
Mhm.
Whereas like I kind of didn't want to just like be speaking English all the time, like and like be kind of like still in my comfort zone. And then I think the other options were like I can't remember actually. But I did want to learn Spanish.
Uh-huh.
That's part of the reason.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I would say language was a big part for me too. Cause like in Texas, I like going like in my high school, like so many people at my school were Spanish speakers. So I kind of just like grew up around it. And like I didn't take Spanish classes in high school, which I kind of regret. But I just like I found myself really wanting to like learn that language more. So that was a big part of it. And I also had just like heard so many amazing things about Barcelona, the city. And I figured like I couldn't really go wrong
Yeah.
with going there.
Um, for me, I mean, I a gap year program is like not that common, I think. And so obviously there's different options of different countries, but I didn't like Sevilla was the only choice I had seen. But like I remember when I was looking at it, I thought it was a good fit because like it's a smaller city. So touching more back on the language, like you have more chance to speak the language because, you know, there's still tourism, but like there's less tourism than other places. But yeah, I mean, I'm really glad I chose to go there because it's just like I think it's like the perfect city to be abroad in because it's big but not too big.
Yeah, it's a perfect size. It's a great size. And so you guys have kind of touched on conversations with your parents, and it seems that your parents were encouraging for you guys to take these leaps, right? But kind of how did those conversations go when you decided you wanted to do this? And, you know, you're talking to your parents and saying, hey, I don't want to enroll in college immediately. I want to do something else. Though for FYA, you're technically enrolling in college immediately, right? Because you are getting those college credits for that first semester, right? But I don't want to go directly to campus. How did those conversations go?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I'd always known about gap year abroad and I thought it was cool just like when I was doing CIEE, like I just heard about it and I kind of like knew that wouldn't really fly with my parents just like because like I wouldn't be like actually doing classes and like with so then when I saw the email about the new first year abroad program, I thought it'd be perfect because I would still be a full-time student. Like we were taking 4 classes while being abroad and I ended with like I think 13 credits. So I was still like a full-time student. So that's why I think that the first year abroad program is really great because it just puts you on the same graduation pace. Like I'll still be graduating like when I normally should be. So I think that's like one of the only reasons why my parents agreed.
Agree to it.
I think honestly, like my parents were, especially my dad was very encouraging of it because he I think it was like one of his like regrets of his life is that he didn't like take a gap year and travel straight out of high school. And I think something that made my parents feel really good about it was the fact that like I already had like an acceptance to a school. Like I was already like lined up to go to college straight like as soon as I got back.
Yeah.
So that was like it was like I wasn't just like doing stuff without a plan. Like I still had like my next 4 years were
Right.
like basically planned out. So that was like I had that sense of security and also I met with my NYU counselor before like when I was applying to CIEE just to like see like if the credits would transfer and like what his recommendations were for classes to take. So I felt like I really like worked out the logistics of it, which I think made my parents feel good about it.
Yeah, your case was kind of like, I'm accepted to my dream school, but I have to do this to make it work, right? So, yeah.
In my case, I kind of mentioned already, but I was really fortunate since I had like my mom as like being very wise and knowing like all the things I needed to do. So like whenever it came to February and I was like, oh, I don't know where I want to go to college. Let me just explore like some programs. She kind of knew how to guide me and I also was able to like defer my acceptance to college. It's not all colleges will offer it, but like it's a very possible thing that you can do. So it's not like I was just like gonna go take a gap year and then after that I had no plans. Like I still had intentions to go to college afterwards. But actually I want to add, but my dad, on the other hand, like he was kind of more scared on the cautious side. So I think like if you can get at least one parent on your side,
Yeah.
it goes okay.
That was when I studied abroad in undergrad. That was my game plan. I was not going to get my mom to agree until I got my dad on my side, right? So I got my dad on my side, and then my dad convinced my mom. Um, I feel like that's
Yeah,
definitely a
kind of opposite for me, but yeah.
yeah, a good game plan. Um, so you get to Spain, and what was the experience like? How did you adjust to being in Spain in the first few weeks, right? Now you're here, it's not like the high school summer abroad program where days are completely structured and planned out by CIEE, right? You have a lot more liberty as college students to explore and to make the experience your own, right? So, what was it like adapting to life in Barcelona and Sevilla?
Well, when Jaime and I actually have a pretty funny story because when we first like got they like put us in a taxi from the airport to CIE, but I think our taxi driver got like misdirected. So we ended up like dropped off in the wrong place, which was kind of scary. But we were able to like call them and they found us and it was fine. But I feel like it just really set the tone of like getting like we're just like dropped in and we have to figure stuff out and like for me I think the language part was the craziest because my host mom didn't speak any English, so I had to just like really absorb that fast, get the hang of it because I spoke basically no Spanish when I first got there. So that was definitely the biggest adjustment for me, but like obviously everything turned out okay and I think I'm a more independent person for because of it.
Yeah, I think I actually liked the format of first year abroad more than high school because with high school it's also just like if you didn't like what they planned, if you didn't like the activity they had, you kind of just like you still had to go. It was like, there was like no other option. But also like my roommate and I had like similar interests and we had talked beforehand. So I think it was like nicer for me to be able to like do my own research and like choose what I wanted to do. And like, well, now I'm like blanking on things that we've done that we did. But we found this like cute cat cafe that we wanted to go to and we kind of just like went. And then like we were able to do our own
Wasn't that
research.
like through CIE though? The cat cafe? I think they brought us. We were gonna go on our
Oh,
own, but then we
oh
couldn't get.
yeah.
And then they ended up having like a thing anyway, so we still went.
Yeah, and then also a good thing is like the CIEE like activities are optional in this case. So like they would like release the activities for the week and then if we didn't feel like going or if we wanted to do something else, we didn't have to go and we could choose to do something that interested us more.
Uh-huh. How often were there CIE activities?
So at the
Like,
CIEE Barcelona was like like multiple times a week
Wow, cool.
for
and they had
activities.
like bigger like excursions on the weekends. So like sometimes there would be like a full day trip to like another town.
Oh, wow.
Or just you just had to like hop on the bus and go.
Yeah, I think the Barcelona program was really good with that. Just because my sister did like she's done CIEE Cape Town and Tokyo, and she says like with each center it's a little bit different with how many activities they have for you. But I think that there was like a good amount, and we were able to do a lot of things that were already interested us, like things that we wanted to do, and we were able to go for free because it was like a part of CIEE.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a similar situation. I think they had stuff weekly. The activities definitely varied, but like I'm remembering now, I think like in the spring semester, like I was playing tennis and so I got to do like sport things, but also we did like an overnight trip to Granada, and some other places. But another plus was so my language school, Click, um, like CIEE and Click have like a very good relationship and amazing school. They hosted cultural excursions as well, and sometimes you'd have to pay for them, but uh like it was nice to kind of have the variety, and I actually ended up going on a trip to Morocco with them. So it was cool like getting to choose from what activities I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what would a typical day look like for the two programs?
I
What
mean,
would
I
a
can
typical day in Gap, Maxine?
so like during the week, I'm pretty sure my class schedule, so whenever we first got there, we did placement tests and those kind of things to see which um like language level we should place in. So in high school, I took about 5 years of Spanish, and I will say before I went, I thought like I'll be okay. But whenever I met my host mom, it was kind of a rude awakening. So I think I placed into one of the classes like more intermediate, and so the classes be like Monday through Friday. I want to say like 9 through 1, or with like a break in between. And then afterwards, I usually went to lunch with my host family around 2, 3 o'clock. Basically free time. I didn't have to always like be at the house for lunch if I didn't want to. If I wanted to go somewhere else, I just text them.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much Monday through Friday. And then in between there, I believe the first semester I had a cultural competency course at like the CIEE Center. So me and the 14 other people in the gap year program, we'd go there on Wednesdays. And then on the weekends, like I said, I would sometimes travel. Other weekends, I just kind of explore the city.
What about an FYA?
For me, I would say like mornings. We had like a 9 a.m. class morning and then like a 12 p.m. class morning. So on like the 9 a.m. days, I was like with one other girl, and our host mom would like make us breakfast. And on the 9 a.m. days, my roommate liked to like go a little later, like wake up a little later than I did. So I usually didn't walk with her to class on those days, but on the later days, we usually walked together. And then after class, we would just kind of have free time. A lot of times, the five of us would go and like get lunch together, or we would like eat with host families. And we had a lot of free time to just like explore, go shopping, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was also this like place near the CIEE Center called Flex Bowls that we would go to a lot. So it
I
like
us.
I've been there. I've been there.
it's so good. We would
It's
go there either
delicious.
before or after class, and then just depending on how the day was, we would do class, Flex Bowls, and like try to fit going into the gym sometime, depending on how the days were going. And we would all go get lunch together, and then um we also did towards the beginning like a lot of just like stuff with my roommate. Like my roommate and I just like kind of like would walk around and explore our neighborhood a lot. And then we would have dinner with our host families, and if we didn't have class the next day, honestly the five of us after dinner we would like meet up after to just like hang out and just like do whatever we were feeling like.
Yeah. Cool. Um, I love that. Do you have any like standout memories? Any special favorite memories from your trip?
I think one of my favorites was like the five of us, like went to Marseille, France
Yeah,
for a
that
weekend.
definitely
And it
is one
was
of the
we
days.
got a bus. The bus left at like 3 a.m. So we were all like exhausted. We like got there. Oh wait, no. Yes, this was Marseille. And but it was just so much fun. Like the city, like I'm definitely going back there because
Yeah,
it
it
was
was just beautiful, and like we were like it was like everything was walking distance. We were like near the port. It was really nice, and we like had a beach day, and it was just like it was like one of the last weekends of good weather, and it was like just really fun.
I just think like I never would have gone there, like even with like my family. So and it's definitely one of my favorite places I've like traveled to. Um, and like it was so like easy to just like get on the bus and go. And
Yeah, I
like
was like 6 hours away on the bus. I just slept the whole time. It was like I woke up and we were there.
yeah.
I think I would say it's like definitely top 5 places I've ever been to. I think for me also like Paris was a really good memory because my sister and one of my friends met up with us and we like all stayed in this like Airbnb with like 7 of us all together, and it was for my birthday. I really like that. And also when Sally's parents came to visit, we went to a football game. That was
Oh
also
yeah, yeah,
one of
yeah.
my favorite memories. Just because like we didn't really know what was going on. We kind of were just like following what the crowd was doing. There was just so much like energy in the air. And
I
it was
was
just like experiencing the culture of like their just like strong football culture
Yeah,
was like
that's super cool.
I have so many things that I could choose. I'll like try to touch on a couple. But that just reminded me of when I think one of my like other gap people in my program, her parents came like November, December, and they all like paid for us to go kayaking on the river. It was really like a sweet memory like of us like all like on our kayaks. Because like in Sevilla there's like the one river that separates everything. So there's like all the bridges and stuff. Um and then travel wise in the fall semester as well, I think almost all 14 of us went like on a bus to Portugal to Albufeira. Um and we rented an Airbnb, so there was literally like 12, 13 of us there. And like we just were all like having a lot of fun, like because we were all really excited to like cook. Like we bought a bunch of groceries since like we have been eating like mostly our host family's food. So it was kind of like, oh, like we get to like cook again. This is so fun. And then like visiting the beaches, they were gorgeous. Um, and then also Morocco is definitely one of my favorite memories that I got to go with like one of my favorite professors from the language school and like some of my friends, and I got to ride a camel. I got to like see like some of like their night markets and just try like the cuisine. It was really fun.
Love that. What were your classes like? Maybe talking about traveling the world, but also how are classes?
I really think our political science class is like one of my favorite classes I've taken, like point blank. I just thought it was so interesting to look at not only like American politics from a Spanish perspective, but like the amount of new information I learned about like Spain's politics and like the EU
Yeah.
was just like so like eye-opening and interesting to me.
yeah,
And
the
it made me
introduction to
realize,
political science course was definitely a different experience abroad because I feel like we had like a whole session about just learning about the European Union and the UN and like just things that we wouldn't have learned about had we taken the course in the US.
yeah,
Yeah, it's awesome to get
and I
that.
loved our teacher.
How many classes did you have to choose from in the FYA catalog for Barcelona?
4.
Oh, okay.
Well, there was more than 4, but like because our program was so small, we all got put in the same 4 classes.
Okay.
I mean, I ended up with all the classes I chose, so I
Me
wasn't
too.
necessarily like upset about it. I also really liked our world religions course just because we learned about a new religion, or like we like had like a new religion every week, or like smaller religions like we just worked on for like a class. And it was just like really cool to learn about all these religions across the world that I wouldn't have known about. And it just also provides perspective in terms of like people's culture and their like practices.
And I think that class definitely I've like used the most now at NYU because I'm in like the liberal studies major and it's a lot of like philosophy and sort of like more religious texts that like I have all this like background knowledge from taking that class that like I wouldn't have had like I wouldn't have heard of a lot of these things had I not taken that class last semester.
Yeah. Amazing. So you would say that the classes really did prepare you for your transition into college?
Also, our Spanish professor was really great. Like, I'm in a Spanish class right now, and I'm like, it's not the same. Like, she was really just understanding, but also like I feel like it's like the most Spanish. I did 3 years of Spanish in high school, and I feel like I learned more in my one semester of class with her. Because she also had us like go out and like just like speak Spanish and like kind of just like figure it out. And I don't know. I feel like I was really able to learn in that specific Spanish course.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
we got
is going to do amazing things for language growth.
definitely a lot of like real world experience in a lot of our classes actually, but like our Spanish class, she had us go to this market and we had to like haggle and like barter for things like in Spanish, which was kind of scary, but it was a cool experience.
That's fun. What about you, Maxine? Your only class was classes, right?
Yeah, so actually, my one professor took us to a market one time too. But I mean, I cannot like speak more highly of like the language education from that school because like in comparison to like my classes in the US, like I was first of all in my classes, like I'd have people literally from all ages, like from like 18 to 70 years old, and they would be from every single continent, like people from Japan, people from France, people from Africa, like everywhere. So that really was so interesting to connect with all these people from so many different cultures. And like my professors kind of decentralized English, like as the way to learn Spanish, which, hadn't really been done for me before because in high school, you're probably just like translating it, but like really learning how to speak the language, like the chance, so much opportunity to get to really speak and learn how to speak and speak with other people.
That's amazing. So would you all say that your Spanish skills grew a lot in your
Like
time?
exponentially.
Exponentially?
Yeah, so I also like after I got back, I started a job at this restaurant and the people who work in the back only speak Spanish and I'm like actually able to like communicate and like speak to them like just about like work but also like about like life and
Yeah. I mean,
personal things.
I think like whenever I tell people I speak Spanish and then like I've actually spoken with them, they're like pretty impressed at the level I can speak because I have so much time to really learn.
And develop it. That's awesome. What other ways would you guys say you grew while you were abroad?
I think like for me, like just like my mindset, like the way I like view life now, I feel like is a little different because I think that like traveling would be a good example because when I first like flew to Barcelona, I had like really barely like ever been to an airport by myself. And so I was like terrified when I got into the Barcelona airport. Like everything just felt so overwhelming and like getting an Uber, like I didn't really like I was just like I had so much like travel anxiety. And then like when we like flew to Paris and like 2 months later and like flying back home from Barcelona also just felt like just like such a breeze. Like I knew what I was doing and I kind of had this like mindset now of like any problem, like I can figure it out. like I feel like that's my mindset. I was like, I can figure out whatever happens rather than like having anxiety about what might happen. I just think I'm a
I
less
definitely agree.
less anxious person for sure.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree about the mindset change because like everything like that I do now, I just kind of think back at like to that time and like I'm like, wow, I've done something way harder. Like things now seem so much easier because whenever you're trying to like communicate in your second language and like do all of these different things, it just doesn't even compare, I think.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes that's something we take for granted. Now that you guys are saying this, like I look back to when I went to study abroad and like you guys flew alone, got to the airport, right? And to me at that time, I was just like, oh, there's people on the other side waiting for me. When my parents were like, you're traveling alone, everybody would be like, you're traveling alone. And I'm like, I'm not really alone. There's people on the other side, but you are traveling alone, right? And you shouldn't take away from that. Like, yes, there is a support structure in there, but that leap to go to a program abroad is huge, and it's something that, you know, not most people don't take, and something to be proud of, right?
Yeah, I think like another thing that we've talked about too is like the independence from it and like I'm not afraid to do most things alone now. Like I have no problem like eating alone, obviously traveling alone. Like if need be, I'm fine alone.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely feel better about like putting myself out there now. And I feel like there's like I've noticed sort of a difference between like how I see things versus a lot of like my peers. Because I feel like even at NYU, like this is a pretty prestigious school and like people here are really, really smart and like really they're like go-getters. But I feel like a lot of my friends are like don't want to go to a club by themselves or don't want to like go explore or whatever by themselves. And I'm like, why? Like it doesn't feel like as big of a deal to me to just like do things on your own and like try things out.
I mean, nothing can be as scary as going to a country where you don't speak the language. Yeah. What were your host families like?
I mean, I was really lucky with my host family. I had host mom, host father, and then they had three little girls. I'll never forget them. They're like two fraternal twins. They were like 11 years old, and then there's another older sister who is about 13, and they're just about like the silliest, like most fun little girls ever. And I will say they always challenged my Spanish because I would struggle and struggle to understand them. And I always tell everybody, I'd literally be at the dinner table and my host mom would be like, you guys are speaking too fast. I can't even understand you. So, sometimes it made me feel a little bit better about the fact that I was like, what is going on? But yeah, I mean, I had so many good experiences with them. Like when my parents came to visit, they met them. Um, and I still try to text them occasionally. So
Let's see.
Yeah, so my host family was just an older couple. They had a son who lived nearby, but he was older. They had grandkids, and they would come over every Sunday for lunch, and like me and my roommate would sit, and it'd just be like so many people at the table, and it was so nice. But they were just like really thoughtful, and they like understood that we were like still young, like we're like fresh out of high school. Um, but like they were just like really amazing, and they definitely helped my experience there be less scary,
Yeah.
especially like when I was first getting there.
That's great.
My host family was actually just one person.
Mhm.
It was this like retired woman named Monse, and she also had like older kids who like kind of lived in the area. Although I don't think they visited, like I don't think I got to know them super well as Taimi did, but
Mhm.
um she was so cool though. She was like a pillar of her neighborhood. Like we would like walk out to dinner and she would just like know everyone on the street, be like, "Oh my God, hi." And she was like she would like direct these like theater productions at this like local theater where it was sort of like a talent show type thing, and she would do it every couple weeks and like would do the little like she would perform at the end with like her friends, and they would do the little like um castanuelas.
Uh-huh.
And me and my roommate would like pull up to the theater productions every couple weeks and like we like got to know some of the regular performers on the show, which was just, I would say that was definitely one of the coolest parts, was getting to see, like, I just felt like our neighborhood was so like local and like close knit, which was really, really fun.
That's so sweet. I love that. I love imagining retired the retired lady running the show at the local theater. Super sweet. Do you have any advice for students who may be considering doing a gap program or first year abroad? Students who are thinking, I mean, even juniors in high school who are starting, that's when you start to think about what are your post-high school opportunities, right? Do you have any advice?
I mean, I think the kind of like only advice, like best advice I could give is just do it.
Yeah.
It's just like a really great experience that you will remember the rest of your life, and just like will help you grow so much more as a person than just like going to a campus with like all the same like people who are like in your same situation. Like, yeah.
I mean, I want to add on that too, because like I like think you'll never regret doing it. Like, I mean, I feel like you can't talk to almost anybody who's gone abroad would never say they regret it. And secondly, that I mean, half the opportunities I have like come from my experiences there, and using that like in what I do now. So you're better set up for success.
I would say don't don't underestimate your future self, because like the person I was even like before my senior year of high school versus like by the end of my senior year, I just feel like you don't realize how much more mature you're going to come and how much like braver of a person you'll be. So like even if it feels nerve-wracking as like a junior in high school, like you're probably going to feel differently once you're like reaching the end of high school and like ready to go out into the world. So like don't shoot down the idea early on is what I would say.
Fantastic. That's all great advice. So you all are now finishing up your freshman year in college, right? You guys have finals coming up soon? When do you guys finish? May?
Finish in June.
In June?
In May, but because I started here in the spring, I'm also here over the summer to
Okay.
like complete my freshman year
Freshman year.
technically. So I don't really finish. I
Right.
like get like a week off and then I'm back in classes.
Okay. So what kind of plans do you have for your future? And did your year abroad or your semester abroad guide that in any way? So do you know kind of like what you're majoring in? Has your time abroad made you rethink what you want to do in the future?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had ideas of what I wanted to do before, but like coming back, I kind of was able to refine things and be like, after talking with all these different people, I want a career with an international aspect. And I mean, I just recently decided to like declare as marketing. So, I mean, I think it shows you a lot about yourself and how you are in situations, and lets you gives you the time to kind of explore things that you like. So I'd say it definitely helped me.
Yeah, I think I kind of went in just like kind of already knowing what I'm going to do, and like it hasn't really changed. I think like Maxine, I do want my career to have some type of international aspect because I like to travel. I actually have a call like right after this with the CIEE coordinator, just to figure out what I want to be doing for next year. Because it just like I feel like I just always like to be traveling, and CIE just makes it really easy.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I know I will be doing a semester abroad in college. So, I mean, it just, you can't stop.
Once you start, there's no stopping, right?
Yeah, I'm already like applying for next spring to study abroad again.
Oh
So
my goodness.
this one is not through CIE, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
I've also decided I probably want to minor in Spanish. So that's definitely a big, like, I never would have done that before going to Spain, but I really love the language. So
Awesome. Some more plans to go abroad. Where are you all trying to go abroad in the next few years? Back to Spain?
yeah, right now I'm looking at Madrid as my top choice, although it's it's a little harder to get into Madrid because it's the most popular program at NYU
Okay.
to go abroad. But if not Madrid, then Buenos Aires is
Oh my god, that's what my call is about.
really,
Yeah.
oh my god.
To do my sophomore spring, do the CIE global internship, and I think at some point definitely going back to Barcelona. I also was looking into like post-grad CIE, like teach abroad, like they have like longer term like year programs in Madrid that I would be interested in. But yeah, definitely a Spanish speaking country.
Very cool.
Yeah. Buenos Aires is on my list too of
Yeah.
destinations, but I'm like currently in the process of applying into the international business program here. And if I get in, I don't really have that much choice on where I go, but I'm honestly happy like almost wherever. But I'd love to go to like Latin America or back to Europe.
Amazing. Do you guys have anything to add before we wrap up? Anything that we didn't touch on? I feel like we've touched on everything, right?
I mean, just you should do it.
Take the lead.
So thank you to Haimi and Sally and Maxine for joining us today, talking about your experiences as students on our CIEE first year abroad and GAP programs. Definitely you three are pioneers in taking this leap. Definitely very courageous to do something that is a little out of the norm. And I'm so glad that you found it worthwhile, and hope that many more students to come follow in your footsteps. So thank you all.
Thank you for listening to Out of Your Comfort Zone. For more information on high school study abroad programs, visit ciee.org/global navigator.